Hey guys, how you doing? This is Coffeechug, and in this video we're going to take a look at 6 different tools that you can use to cut cardboard. Some amazing, some good, and some not so good. So let's go ahead and dive into the tools that I have here on my workbench that you probably can't see at this point. But before we do, let's get our safety glasses on, let's get some cardboard, and now let's get ready to rock and roll. Alright guys, so these are the tools that we're going to explore in the video today. We're going to take a look at a really great kind of power tool called the Snip. We're going to talk about scissors and cardboard, the MakeDo tool, the box cutter, a compass cutter, and then the Canary. These are not in any order, but we're going to go through and break these down from what I think are the worst all the way to the best in a few little ideas. So here we go. So the first one I'm going to talk about is just a pair of scissors. There's different kinds of scissors. I don't recommend scissors. I understand if that's all you have, if you're working in a makerspace or you're working with kids in a classroom or some sort of workshop. But ideally, these are not the way to go. And here's why. What scissors do, it becomes really hard to cut like around edges. So let me grab a marker. Now let's say I needed to cut this part out. What happens is, you know, if you've probably worked with scissors, like it's hard to get in and get around parts. And so when you start to do this, see what happens? You start to bend the cardboard, and you just don't get a very good cut by doing those things. And I know that you could go through and trim all the edges, but if we want precise kind of cuts and we want stuff that's going to look good, at least as good as we can do it, this is not the way to go. I don't like how it bends the cardboard. It's hard to cut, it gets frustrating, and it's just not the way to go. So while this is probably the most convenient and the one that you have most often, it's the one I recommend the least. So that would lead us to our second tool. I'm not spending much time on this because I don't really want to recommend it, but I understand if you have to. My second tool that you could use out of this that I do like is just using a pair of box cutters. Now the problem is when I work with kids, I have to be very careful with this. I wouldn't use this with the younger kids. Middle school or high school we would, under some precautions, and go and talk about safety measures about how to cut. Obviously being very careful of the blade, making sure that we have a good firm grasp on it, we're careful of our fingers, we're careful of other people. But what's good about this blade, and it's probably my go-to tool the most, is I can actually get around these curves. And I can do this fairly smoothly with just taking my time and being patient. And so I can go against the corrugated cardboard. I can kind of form my ridges as I kind of go through here. And if it doesn't go through the first time, I can just go back, and it's much easier. Just to keep that pressure, take my time, and I can easily get this piece out here. Just going through that. And what I like about this is that it doesn't bend the cardboard. So you can tell here where I use the scissors, it's all bent. Over here it's not. It's nice and smooth, and I can go through that, and I can clean that up and dig those edges out if I wanted to. So this is my go-to. However, not always ideal when you're working with kids, but the one I go to most of the time. So then that would lead me to my third tool. This is actually a tool created by MakeDo. MakeDo is this amazing company that makes these kind of screws and pieces that allow you to build structures using these screws and a screwdriver set to create and connect cardboard. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's something we want to follow up with in a separate video. But in there, they have these which are safer for kids. So you can see that there's the smaller teeth and the thicker teeth. You can put your fingers in here for structure. You know, so I'm cutting, I can really get in there. I can hold it if the way I want. What I like about this is that it's safe. Like, yes, I could hurt myself, but it's not as easily to do so compared to box cutters. Now the downside to this is that it doesn't cut always like the smoothest, obviously, because we're looking at plastic. So if I go to cut here, it does the job. But I gotta go through, and you can see I cut this real quick here. Now I cut that fast for the sake of the demo, but you can see that it doesn't always make the smoothest of cuts, and obviously I rushed that one. But I like this because it allows kids to cut. If I'm prototyping or building something quick, it's easy to do, and I know the risk of injury is lessened. You can also 3D print these. There's all sorts of these kind of tools now on Thingiverse and other web platforms, so you could print these if you have your own own 3D printer, not your own website. So you can make these as well as buying them. And this is just a nice kind of safety precaution that I like. And then this back end obviously has a hole, which allows you to do the screws with the MakeDo. So a really handy tool, but if I'm trying to do some professional work, I'm not going to use this. Working with kids, especially young kids, this is definitely the way to go. Okay, so there's those 3 tools. The next tool is a new one that I just started using. I just came across some of these tools and I wish I would have known about them forever. This is a compass circle cutter. So compass, obviously you are aware of that. This one that I have, there's a lot of different models out there, is the Olfa, I think is how you pronounce it, and I really like it. What this allows you to do is this little compass here. Obviously you gotta be careful because there is a little razor blade here and then the point, but I just loosen this guy up and then I can create whatever kind of circle size that I want to. So let's just keep it, we'll go right here in the middle. And this allows you to cut paper, so I can go through here, put my pin down, and I can cut really nice circles. So there's my circle, looking great. And then what I like about that is I could trace around cardboard, but I can cut out a cardboard too. So if I get a little piece here, let me get a bigger piece of cardboard. Now it's going to take me a little bit. See, this blade isn't super deep, so you have to be smart about that. But I could go right here maybe. That should work. And you'll get the idea anyways. I put in my pointer, and just like I did for the paper, I would go around. Now you're going to have to go through a couple more times just because this is the corrugated cardboard, so it's thicker than a piece of paper. Nice. Now I get some different shapes and some different patterns. And so this is a great little tool, especially if I'm not cutting the corrugated cardboard like cardstock or something else. I get great little circles that work time and time again. So really, really helpful there. Now, the tool that I am loving, and I wish I would have known about this, or at least I've known about it, but didn't really take much of vested interest in it, is the Canary Knife. This comes from, I believe, Japan here. This is like, it cuts cardboard like butter. I mean, it's so smooth, and I'm sitting here going, why would I need a special knife for cardboard? So I finally broke down and bought me a 3-pack, and I'm kicking myself for not buying these sooner. It's safer than box cutters. Yes, it's still sharp because it's got these edges here, so you can still technically hurt yourself, but safer than, in my mind, box cutters. It's got a good handle, and what I like about this tool is a couple things. One, I can use it kind of like a box cutter, and I could just use the edges and make my cuts that way. I could also, watch this. Look how it just cuts right through that cardboard like nothing. I could poke in because of the perforated edges anywhere I want, and I can cut things in a heartbeat. I mean, this thing is so nice. I can just go right in here, I'm in, and I'm cutting. Just so easy, so nice and smooth. And so in another video, when I do some cardboard cutting techniques, I use this quite a bit, especially if I'm trying to create bends or pipes. And I'm not doing this very good because I have a ruler with me. But I could do something along these lines where I don't cut all the way through. And then from here, you know, I could start to create my rounds. And so I use this quite a bit for these kind of techniques and projects. And you'll notice that when I was cutting here, I didn't get all the gooped up cardboard that sometimes you get with the box cutters. So this is my go-to that I'm loving, that I wish I would have known, you know, 5 years ago. The last tool is this zip snip. So a power tool. Be very careful obviously with kids, but there is a safety guard. This allows you to cut a lot. I've seen it where it's cut mesh, it's cut stacks of paper, wrapping paper. I used to cut cardboard, I cut foam board. This thing is great. And so I got this piece of cardboard here. I got this safety valve. I push that, and now when I press the handle, it'll turn on, and it'll keep going until I let go. But see, if I squeeze here, it doesn't turn on. So it has this safety feature. So I press that, and it's on. And just watch how smooth this is. So tell me you don't want one of these after seeing that. Look how straight that is. It's smooth, it's nice, it cuts through, like I said, all the different kind of materials, paper and everything else. This is great. This is like, I just got this a week ago in my Makerspace, and I have used it so much, just cutting things because it's so great. By far one of my top 5 favorite tools. So there you go, guys. Just a quick crash course of the tools that I use when I'm messing with cardboard. Coming in tied for first is the Canary Knife from Japan and the powered zip snip. These two are phenomenal. If you don't have those and you don't have the money, don't forget you have box cutters. Just be very, very careful. This is my go-to, what I use probably 80 to 85% of the time. That'll probably drop down now that I got these two, the Boxcutters and the power. We talked about the compass, which works really great if you're trying to get round shapes and things like that. We talked about the MakeDo tool, which is right here, which will allow you to be safer with the younger kids, avoid injury. It doesn't really hurt. I mean, I could dig in really tight to make that happen. You can 3D print these, and there's other kind of tools available similar to that online. And the last but not least, if you're in a pinch and have nothing else, you have the scissors. All right, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. My breakdown of how to cut cardboard, or the tools to use it. In the next video, we're going to take a look at a bunch of different cardboard cutting techniques that I hope you will find helpful. All right, guys, let me know what you think, other tools you use and recommend, so I can learn, I can get better. And until the next episode, stay awesome.